In today's news, we see the 16-year-old young man who actually lost his leg in a recent accident in Paraquita Bay. He's now seeking your help to raise $50,000 for urgent medical care in the United States. Also, the marijuana legislation that has been put forward to the governor, former governor, Governor Jasper, for his assent, that now requires the assent of Dominic Raab, will not receive that assent until the BVI's Commission of Inquiry is completed. And we also see the Fisherman's wharf being commissioned just yesterday and, of course, being dedicated to the late Honorable Omar Hodge. And additionally, we see Gastro cases on the rise here in the British Virgin Islands. We have all that and so much more when 284 News returns. A terrific Tuesday to one and all. It is Tuesday, April 27th. We're so thrilled to be coming to you, out of the beautiful British Virgin Islands with your daily dose of 284 News. My name is Javon Wilson, and I am so happy that you could be joining us this evening. Now, topping our newscast today, we see 16-year-old Brashawn Walters, the young man who actually lost his leg recently in an accident in Paraquita Bay. Well, viewers, he is now hospitalized in the United States with ruptured bowels and is now seeking the public's assistance in raising funds for urgent medical care. Now, a total of $280,000 is required, but NHI is providing up to 80% of that, providing that it will be reimbursed. As a result, the family has since set up a GoFundMe page to raise $50,000. And viewers, of course, we do know that this was such an unfortunate incident. So we are now making a passionate plea to you, the public, to help in whatever way you can. You can Google "Help Brashawn Walters" to help receive medical attention. If you Google that, you'll be able to find his GoFundMe account online. Our prayers, of course, are with Brashawn for a speedy recovery. We also know that the Drugs Prevention of Misuse Amendment Act, which of course seeks to decriminalize small possessions of marijuana or cannabis, and of course erase previous convictions in the BVI, that bill is yet to be assented to by the United Kingdom Secretary of State, Mr. Dominic Raab. Now, we have been able to confirm as of today that that assent will not come before the ongoing COI is concluded. Now, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Julian Willock, confirmed this in a recent statement saying, and I quote, "It is extremely concerning that the Right Honorable Dominic Raab has stated to the Premier that he is awaiting the reports from the Commission of Inquiry before making a decision to the assent to the Drugs Prevention of Misuse Amendment Act." End of quote. Now, viewers, the Speaker of the House is outraged at Mr. Raab's position on this bill. As well, we do know that the sitting government is very perturbed over what they are calling the UK dragging its feet on what the government thinks could be a great revenue generator for us here in the British Virgin Islands. As we dive in, yesterday, April 26th, the territory witnessed the old Fisherman's wharf at Barker's Bay being commissioned and dedicated in the name of the late Honorable Omar Wallace Hodge. Now, the wharf, now called the Omar Wallace Hodge Fisherman's Wharf and Park, honors the former legislator, a man for the people who believed in human rights for residents in the British Virgin Islands, and certainly someone who contributed significantly to the building of this rich BVI history and legacy that we now enjoy. His son, Geoffrey Hodge, spoke to some of his accomplishments. So if you're yet to see that clip, let's listen in.
I find this dedication being held in the Boggers Bay village most fitting, being that this is where he spent most of his childhood and young adult days. There are a few accomplishments that he spoke of and stood very proud of, and told me how they came to being over and over. His stance for fair immigration, labor laws and practices, to complete the Boggers Bay Marina, Fisherman wharf, for the purpose of assisting local fisher persons and the wider marine activities. The community center in the Postal Estate, the community center he envisioned to be used as a safe haven for children, where they can find support, a glass of milk and a sandwich to quiet their hunger. Also for activities, arts, programs. He used to say they wrinkled stomachs. He spoke of the distribution of the Anegada lands to the Anegada people. And most of all, his prize achievement, the acquisition of the baths on Virgin Gorda from private hands for the people of this territory.
Now, viewers, like Geoffrey Hodge mentioned, the late Honorable Omar Hodge was a man with a heart for people, despite of where you came from. Listen in as the Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Andrew A. Foy, reflects on one of his favorite memories of the late Honorable Omar Hodge.
I remember one time with Honorable Hodge, to give you one last story about him, so you can understand the dynamics of him. I was elected and I was about 3 months into office, young politician. And he came and we were by the complex, the now named R.T. O'Neill complex. He said, come with me if you're driving. I said, yes. He said, pack up your car and drive with me. And I went with him with his Jeep. And we were by the House of Assembly because we were in the back bench. So we went down by the complex. And he said, come go with me there. And I said, no problem. So when we went down, he actually told me before we reached there, he wants me to make a stop by someone. And we made a stop. Next thing I know, we then went straight to the complex. We were by the airport. I had to drive him up by the airport. Little young politician like me don't know what's happening. When we reached by the airport, there was a lady being deported. I'll never forget it. I see her every now and again. She was here for 21 years. And she got a baby. And she didn't have a paperwork. It was in terms of being fully regularized. And the baby was born here. But they decided they were going to deport her, and they have already decided that. Omar went and he didn't argue with them because he said he argued enough that it wasn't right. Omar went and he took up the baby with in the cradle and gave me the cradle to hold and said, let's go. He told the little baby, tell mommy bye-bye. And I walking with him, and all I'm asking him is, Omar, where we going with this baby? He said, just get in the car, put the child in the back, and put on the seatbelt and the AC so the child could get some breeze. And he used to get in the car and he would hold on the hanger part of the thing, and he hold on there. And he said, drive. I said, where we going? He said, you just keep driving till we get out of East End and tell you. And when we get going is when I know now for sure we're going back by the complex. And we reached by the complex. He said, take out the child and let's go. Well, I always say, Omar hopping, before I jumping. Because I behind him with the child in the basket, in the little cradle. We went up to the Chief Minister's office, the then Chief Minister's office. And when we reached by the Chief Minister's office, he said, tell the Chief Minister, which was R.T. O'Neill, Omar Wallace Hodge is out here to see him. But you know, Chief Ministers are always busy, so we waited a while. Not new members, we waited a while. And he didn't come out, he sent out his secretary to tell us, well, say what it is because he's busy. So Omar sent in to tell him, well, he wants the lady not to be deported. You have to remove that, reverse it. So then Ralph sent out to tell him that I'm gone, there's nothing we could do, leave that alone. Omar said, no problem. He said, put the child down on the secretary desk. I said, but who am I in the child? So he turned and told his permanent secretary for the Chief Minister and the Chief Minister's secretary, tell the Chief Minister, don't worry. Since his mother is going and she wasn't properly dealt with, he and his wife can raise the child until the mother gets back. And he turned through the door going, and I was there in amazement. And he yelled out and tell me, boy, come, let's go, carry me back to my jeep. And we left the child there. But when we got by the elevator, I remember the secretary can't call her name, running, coming. She said, come. The Chief Minister said, he called the airport. The lady ain't going again and come for the child. I can't have this child. Child need changing too. And we went back for the child, true story, and pick up the child. And they had carried the mother back. And we were able to carry the child to the mother. I won't call the name of that child now. But that child has come to do some great things in this territory. And there were so many people against that person and the child being able to stay. Although the child was born here and the mother was here for more than 21 years. We're not saying to give away the country, but I understood what he was trying to say. And he believed in those fights.
Viewers, now Honorable Alvaro Maduro Keynes was highly commended, of course, for seeing this project into fruition. Honorable Maduro Keynes said, and I quote, "This Fisherman's Wharf and Park, by its very positioning, is representative of Omar Hodge's life. It is a bridge between the district as it is in the center of the district, a central focal point as Omar Wallace Hodge was for his people." End of quote. Quite a fitting dedication for a man, of course, who contributed so much to the fabric, legacy, and culture here in the Virgin Islands. We continue to salute you, Honorable Omar Wallace Hodge. Now, as we move on, officials in the Ministry of Health and Social Development are alerting residents of an increase in the level of gastroenteritis, also known as Gastro, here in the Virgin Islands. The Public Health Unit and the Environmental Health Division are currently investigating the cause in order to limit the spread. Now, viewers, Gastro is an inflammation of the lining of the stomach and small and large intestines. The condition is very contagious and can spread rapidly and easily from person to person. Gastroenteritis may be caused by viruses, bacteria, or microorganisms like parasites that can be transmitted through consumption of contaminated or undercooked food, drinking contaminated water, lack of hand hygiene or dirty hands, and airborne particles circulating in the air after vomiting. Now, symptoms of gastroenteritis are varied and may include low fever, tiredness, and general fatigue, headaches, muscle aches, and chills, nausea, vomiting, and inability to take food orally in severe cases, stomach pain, cramps, diarrhea, which could be loose or watery stools, and sometimes with mucus, occasionally tinged with blood in severe cases. Now, there's a few things residents can do to decrease the chances of becoming infected with gastroenteritis, or of course, by spreading the virus. You can do these following preventative steps. 1, ensure that food is fully cooked and cooking temperature is reached, the correct temperature that is, especially when using a microwave. Avoid eating raw or uncooked food. Eat food soon after cooking and reheat properly, especially if left in the open, for long periods of time. Food handlers should wash their hands with soap and water before and after food preparation. Properly wash your hands, especially after using the restroom, after changing diapers, and before eating and preparing food as well. If you are ill, you should stay home from work and school, especially if you work in food handling, healthcare, or childcare. You should also thoroughly clean and disinfect contaminated surfaces immediately after an episode of illness by using a solution of 1/3 cup bleach to 1 gallon of water. And of course, you should immediately remove and wash clothing or linens that may be contaminated after an episode of illness. Of course, they're recommended that you use hot water and soap and flush and discard any vomit and or stool in the toilets. You should also clean and disinfect the surrounding area. Viewers, you want to be on alert for that, and of course take all the precautionary measures that are recommended here by our local health experts. Now, still ahead of the break, Sir Geoffrey Cox QC has arrived in the BVI to lead the government's IRU in the Commission of Inquiry process, and a prose fiction masterclass, that writing workshop, is coming to the BVI, and trust me, you want to hear all the details. So stick with us. There's more news after this commercial break.
The win.
What in the hell?
I'm freaking out.
Is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the
What's poppin'? What's really big?
Davis has won it for the
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now we're continuing to follow updates on the Commission of Inquiry here in the Virgin Islands. Now, the government's Inquiry Response Unit, also known as IRU, is preparing for the next stage of the Commission of Inquiry this week with the arrival in the Virgin Islands of the Right Honorable Sir Geoffrey Cox QC. Now, the Attorney General, on behalf of the Virgin Islands government, has asked Sir Geoffrey Cox QC to carry out an objective internal review of all aspects of the governance of the Virgin Islands, including areas of government activity to which the COI's request have in the main been addressed, and of course to advise the government of his conclusions. This work will, among many other things, enable the Attorney General to better assist the Commission of Inquiry in the coming months and draw relevant matters to its attention. Sir Geoffrey will also, where appropriate, represent the Attorney General and the government at the forthcoming oral hearings before the Commissioner. Now, Sir Geoffrey Cox QC, who is currently in quarantine, intends to hold a series of meetings with the government or ministries in the next few weeks, initially virtually and then on completion of quarantine in person, and will visit ministries and departments to explore relevant issues in detail with policy and decision makers. As the Premier stated in the House of Assembly just last week, the IRU has so far provided over 73,000 pages of official documents to the inquiry and responded expeditiously to 56 requests for information. Viewers, these requests have been answered with complete transparency, and no matters have been held back, save for very sensitive details of individual Virgin Islanders, such as medical diagnosis, a position ultimately agreed by with the COI. Now, in line with the government's policy of full transparency and cooperation with the Commission of Inquiry, the IRU will also continue to support the inquiry by the efficient and timely fulfillment of its requests for official documents over the coming weeks. The government emphasizes that the IRU, which of course advises and represents the Attorney General and the government of the Virgin Islands on its response to the inquiry, and the COI are entirely separate, and those who wish to raise matters relevant to its remit should continue to refer them to the COI by means it has already advertised. Now, viewers, as we move on, great news for the literary arts, persons who are interested, of course. Now, writers across the territory are now being offered another opportunity to finesse their skills with the hosting of another writing workshop series titled The Speculative and the Real, Writing Across Genre. This is a prose fiction masterclass, of course. Now, literary arts officer at the Department of Culture, Ms. Anika Christopher, said that the upcoming workshop will give writers the opportunity to have their individual submissions critiqued, as well as work on a collaborative story with award-winning author, Mr. Cadwell Turnbull. Now, Ms. Christopher said, and I quote, "Through collaboration, the class will be exploring elements of mosaic storytelling, a framework where writers will learn to tell one story out of many perspectives and genres. Now, this hands-on work will provide lessons that can be brought back to individual stories and, of course, open up new possibilities for crafting multi-layered narratives." Now, the workshop will be held on May 28th, June 2nd, 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th. It will be facilitated by award-winning author of the lesson, Cadwell Turnbull. Persons who are interested should submit one short story that is either 1,200 to 1,500 words or 4 to 5 pages to register at viculture@gov.vg. Of course, submissions deadlines to register for that workshop is May 1st. Now, Mr. Turnbull, received his Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing and Master's in Linguistics at North Carolina State University. Since its publication, the lesson has been nominated for a Sovas Award in Fiction, an Audie Award in Science Fiction, and an AAM BC Literary Award. Now, the novel was shortlisted for the 2020 VCU Cabell First Novelist Award, as well as it was also longlisted for the 2020 Massachusetts Book Award. The lesson was also the recipient of the 2020 Nookum Institute Literary Award in the debut category. It has also been optioned by AMC for a television series in collaboration with the Mission Entertainment. Now, the Department of Culture is really committed to promoting artists of the territory and has conducted several workshops for visual artists, culinary artists, calypsonians, and even held an oral history workshop for Culture and Tourism Month held back in November. Now, just earlier this year, the department commenced the writing workshop series with a poetry writing session. Now, 13 persons participated and were able to benefit face-to-face as well as virtually from that program. The Director of Culture, Dr. Catherine Smith, said, and I quote, "I would like to reiterate the Department of Culture's commitment to promoting and developing the territory's cultural artists. This year, we were excited to begin the Writing with Writers program, a series of workshops for literary artists. The first workshops was a 5-session poetry masterclass facilitated by our very own poet laureate, Dr. Richard Georges," Mrs. Smith said. Now, viewers, again, for more information on the Writing with Writers workshop series, you can contact the Department of Culture at 468-4379. Again, that number is 468-4379. Now, still ahead of the break, we see the United Kingdom sanctioning 22 individuals in serious international corruption. You'd be quite surprised at some of the names that made that list. We have all the details when 284 News returns.
Gentlemen, inspiring gentlemen, and our partners that hold us down. It's season 2 of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, taking you on the most inspiring journey with the best and brightest distinguished gentlemen of the BVI. Raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men like you've never seen them before. Governor Augustus J.U. Jaspert, Jovan Klein, Neil Klein, and so much more. Turning modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen with yours truly, Ron Grant, a 284 Media production. Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, developing updates on the international scene. The Foreign Secretary has announced that the UK's first sanctions under the new global anti-corruption regime has now been made public. The sanctions targeted 22 individuals involved in notorious corruption cases in Russia, South Africa, South Sudan, and throughout Latin America. Now, Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab has vowed to stop corrupt individuals by using the UK as a safe haven for dirty money. The new sanctions regime stops those involved in serious corruption from entering and channeling money through the UK. Individuals involved in some of the world's most serious cases of corruption will no longer be able to channel their money through the UK banks or enter the country thanks to these sanctions announced just yesterday. Now, viewers, the UK has, for the first time, imposed asset freezes and travel bans against these 222 individuals under the global anti-corruption sanctions regime, which gives the UK unprecedented power to stop corrupt actors profiting from the UK economy and exploiting citizens. Corruption hurts individuals and undermines global trade, development, and the rule of law. Now, over 2% of global GDP is lost to corruption every year, and corruption includes the cost of doing business for individual companies by as much as 10%. Corruption also threatens our national security by exacerbating conflict and facilitating serious and organized crime, creating space for terrorist and criminal groups like Daesh and Boko Haram to cooperate. Now, this new regime will allow the UK to combat serious corruption, in particular bribery and misappropriation. It will promote effective governance, robust democratic institutions, and the rule of law, demonstrating the UK's powers as a force for good around the world. Now, Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab said, and I quote, "Corruption has a corrosive effect as it slows development and drains the wealth of poorer nations and keeps their people trapped in poverty. It poisons the well of democracy. The individuals we have sanctioned today have been involved in some of the most notorious corruption cases around the world. Global Britain is standing up for democracy, good governance, and the rule of law. We are saying to those involved in serious corruption, we will not tolerate you or your dirty money in our country." End of quote. Now, viewers, the measures are deliberately targeted so the UK can impose sanctions on corrupt individuals and their enablers rather than the entire nations. These are being taken partly in tandem with the US, which is today also announcing further corruption sanctions. Acting together sends the clearest possible signal that corruption comes with a very heavy price. The UK's first wave of sanctions under this new sanction regime is now targeting those involved in the diversion of $230 million of Russian state property through a fraudulent tax refund scheme uncovered by the late Sergei Magnitsky, one of the largest tax frauds in recent Russian history. Also, Ajay Atul and Rajesh Gupta and their associate Salim Essa, for their roles in serious corruptions, they were at the heart of a long-running process of corruption in South Africa, which caused significant damage to its economy. They're also looking at Sudanese businessman Asaf Seed Ahmed Hussein Ali, widely known as Al Cardinal, for his involvement in the misappropriation of significant amounts of state assets in one of the poorest countries in the world. This diversion of resources, in collusion with South Sudanese elites have contributed to ongoing instability and conflict. Now, viewers, several other individuals across Latin America are also being looked at under this new sanction. Now, the global anti-corruption sanctions regimes builds on the success of the global human rights sanctions regime established back in July of last year. They will continue to use a range of means to tackle serious corruption. And of course, with hopes to turn over $1.1 billion of stolen assets. Of course, that was stolen from developing countries since 2006. Huge developments coming out of the UK. We continue to follow that story. And of course, we'll bring you additional updates as they arise. But for now, viewers, that is all the time we have. Do follow us at 284media.com. That's our website for additional stories, local, regional, as well as international. We're also on Facebook at 284media and Instagram at 284BVI. For now, my name is Javon Wilson, signing out and saying goodbye.